Somalia has made a giant step by winning a seat, a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent. So this is a giant step for Somalia winning or getting a seat, a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council after half a century. So in this video, I'm going to look at, as usual, I will put some questions and I'll try to answer those questions. So number one, we will look at, who supported Somalia's membership or, to get this non-permanent seat at the United Nations. Number two, what does it mean, first and foremost, for Somalia itself? What does it mean for the region where it comes from, meaning the Eastern African region? And then what does it mean for Africa as well? And also we will look at, will this mean, Somalia is free from the external pressure? And I'm going to explain to you, I will give you a background, how this UN, the non-permanent seat for Africa, works as the United Nations Security Council. So it's called ESRI. All, 3 African countries are every time represented, but I will explain it. Now, first of all, to answer the first question, who supported it? I mean, the whole African Union, all the 54 countries have supported it. That means the African Union has endorsed Somalia. And then, in addition, more countries, totally out of the 193 member states in the United Nations, Somalia has got a vote of 100 from the countries, from 179 countries. So that makes it actually more than 2/3 of the vote. So it's a majority vote that Somalia won. Now, moving to the second question, what does it mean, Somalia? This is really my favorite. First, congratulations to the brothers and sisters in Somalia as a whole, so what does it mean for Somalia? This is really my favorite part, because it's like a 360-degree turnaround for Somalia. Imagine this. First of all, Somalia has been, the United Nations, it was used, this United Nations Security Council, as a tool for Somalia to impose sanctions and embargoes against Somalia. Okay, now Somalia is going to use it for its own cause. So it used to be used as a punishment for Mogadishu, where the Somalian government sits. Now, from the source of punishments, then now we will see how Somalia will turn around this by having that seat at the UNSC. The other thing is that, this has been a good year for Somalia, because it has also joined the Eastern African community. Also, its debt has been cancelled. On top of that, the punishments, or what we call the sanctions that has been put by the United Nations against Somalia, has been lifted last December year 2023. So now Somalia is able to buy weapons and other things which it has been sanctioned. So all these things happened for Somalia. Now, with regards to getting the seat, now for Somalia, this is a second time after 50 years. Okay, so the other one was during the year 1971 to 72, during the last president before Somalia became a failed state. So during the time of Ziad Barre, from 71 to 72. Now, it means also for Somalia now to serve on the UN, most powerful organ, which is the United Nations Security Council. It will start, its membership starts from January 2025, and it will end December 2026. That is 2 solid years. Now it's replacing now the outgoing one of the African countries, which was a non-permanent member at the UNSC, Mozambique. That is what Somalia will be replacing among the others. The others new joining that will start January 2025. You have from Asia, Pakistan, you have Panama, from the Americas, you have from Europe, Greek and Denmark. So these are the new joining. So the permanent, the UN Security Council, it has 15 member states. Then the P5 are with veto power, and then the rest 10 members are non-permanent. They have non-permanent seat that's changing every 2 years, which is non-consecutive. They don't have a veto power. They don't have a say on most important things. Yeah, but there are some advantages for Somalia. Now, what are other things for Somalia? What does it mean? As I said, the 5 members, which is US, UK, France, Russia, and China, have the one who have a veto power. They are the one who have the big say in terms of putting sanction, imposing sanction, and lifting sanction. But as a non-permanent member, what the advantage is that for Somalia, it will make it, and for other non-permanent members, they have closer contact, for the lobby and to bring, for favorable decisions for itself and also for Africa. So how will that play? That's something that time will tell. Now, for that's as far as for Africa. Now for the region, Africa's representation in the UNSC is known, as I told you, S3 always, it has a quota of 3. Now it's a fragile region. You have conflicts in itself in Somalia. There's conflict in Sudan. There's conflict in South Sudan. There's in Ethiopia. So all that Somalia has its own issue with Ethiopia. So how will that play? How will it really reflect through decision? Something beneficiary for for Africa and for the region, or will it take this as an advantage and just play it for its own favors? That's something time, will tell. Now, another question is what we can raise is that will Somalia be free from external pressure? Now, the thing is that the cross-check question that you can ask is that, for example, what will constitute success during your term? Like, what does it mean failing? Are your presidents, foreign ministers, prime ministers, permanent representative, all are all in the same page? Or will the pressure and political prestige of the council pull you apart? Okay, are you going to really represent your own country's benefits before the continent that represented you and assigned you to represent? Also, are you prepared to take a stance that might be unpopular with powerful friends like the US and the other allies? That's also in cost. There's a huge pressure. And will Somalia be free from it? I doubt it. But then another question also to ask is, how will you effectively work with the permanent members, with those, with veto powers, and then with the Africa 3 itself? What special insight do you have that can educate the council? Meaning, for example, there's no African representative in the P5, in the permanent state members. Then what can you educate them whenever an African issue is brought to the United Nations Security Council? You can take an example for Ethiopia's GERD, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, because of Egypt, have been brought in 1 year alone I think maybe 12 times, although it's not a security issue, it's a development issue. But because of Egypt and its long hand in the organization, it has been brought 12 times. And then how did, at that time, the A3 group of Africa represented, and tried to explain Ethiopia's side? That is something, a very good example. It's actually, I'm an Ethiopian, so and I have been part of that, who have been fighting and trying to make the Ethiopian voice heard. So we have been misrepresented there. And the A3 countries there, the three non-permanent members, did not really do that much. I don't know, maybe if it's they're out of their power, but especially the Kenyan one, that is something, that disappointed us all. So we were left all alone. So we have to explain our own cause and everything. So it's pretty much you can't do anything that those A3 countries cannot do anything to really represent problems of the member states of the continent. So the solution is for Africa to have a permanent seat and have that veto power. Now, well, how does it look like the African seat in the United Nations Security Council? I touched it in the beginning. So it doesn't have a seat in the permanent members. It's only the 5 ones. It's UK, US, France, China, and Russia. But there are African countries then there is, in the non-permanent seat, there are 3 African countries currently. You have Sierra Leone, Algeria, and Mozambique. Now, Mozambique ends its end of December 2024, and then Somalia will replace it. Okay, so it's by quota actually. Even when the African Union endorses those 3 countries, it's every time it's regionally. Now, as you can see, you have Algeria from North Africa, you have Sierra Leone from the west, and you have now Somalia from East Africa. Mozambique, what can we say? It's like southeastern Africa, right? So it's regionally, and it's something endorsed by the African Union. It's not just countries unilaterally, applying for it. But Africa aspires to get a permanent membership in the P5, in the permanent seats. So it has been brought by different leaders of the continent. William Ruto talked about it, Nana Akufo-Addo, Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia, and others. Many of them have brought it. Even the African Union itself, just, was it last year that the African Union got in the G20 a seat, but that doesn't do so much. This one is really important. And there are countries who support Africa to get represented in the permanent members. So Africa is not asking one place. You have to know they are asking actually 2 seats. So this will bring the permanent 5 members to 7. So, but will it be allowed? I don't know. But hopefully it will get. If you ask, then which countries are probably will get in the permanent 5, then it might. Ethiopia has an interest to get in the permanent seat. Egypt has. Maybe South Africa, and I don't know other countries. Why I said Egypt and Ethiopia, it's because if you remember that we have reported about it in BRICS, there is a Fed that is growing, a rift between the member countries, and because India wants now to get a permanent seat in the P5, in the Group 5, then they want BRICS, India wants, BRICS backup for the BRICS countries. Then Ethiopia and Egypt, the newly joined one, also wants this. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the African Union has to agree in maybe, bring, okay, these are the 2 countries. I don't know. But which one will it get? Will Africa get even soon in the near future? That's also a question, you need to ask. So one more thing that I would like to say before I finish this is that for example, when I ask is how one country who is, African country, which is in the non-permanent member, how it can cross-check itself, whether it's really using the position to represent Africa or not, is that often to ask those questions. Are you prepared to take a stance that might be unpopular with the P5 group? How will you effectively work also with them? Are you in the same page with your president, with your foreign minister, with your prime minister, which is, all of them might have different say. So the thing is that for Somalia, what an example can be is that, with its issue with Ethiopia, for example, recently it has announced that at the end of ATMIS, the African Transition Peacekeeping Mission military, it will finish in December 2024, and they said they want all the Ethiopian army to be out, and this comes not because of Ethiopia signing of MOU with Somaliland for a sea access, so a direct sea access. The thing is that how are they going to bring now, once again, just like what Egypt has been doing to us, to the UN Security Council, or will they really respect the decision of the African Union and follow that path and try to solve it in the African Union? Because the thing is, what Egypt should have done is that the matter was handled by the African Union, and still it breached that and took it to the United Nations Security Council. Will Somalia do the same? This is a question we need to ask and ponder in that. And you can comment in the comment section what you think about this. So thank you again for tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give it a like if you like what we bring you here, and share the video with others. If you want to support us, also you can support us with our PayPal account. You can find it in the description section. It's also pinned in the comment section. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao, ciao.